Hi, welcome back to the next move with Valetax. My name is Riot, market analyst and trading content specialist here at Valetax. And as always, we're going to be sharing trade ideas and giving you an outlook on the market conditions ahead for the week. But before we go right into the trade outlook for the week, let's do a quick recap on the trade ideas from last week. On last week's market outlook, we shared trade ideas on the XAUUSD, EURUSD, and the AUD/USD, and these were how they played out. For the XAUUSD, we were expecting a break above the 4,050 levels for a continuation of the push to target the neckline of the double top created on the 4-hourly time frame at the 4,250 levels, 4,230 levels, and prices played out significantly well, and prices started to dump as stated for the XAUUSD from the 4,237 levels and back to the 4,050 key area. A break below this level could possibly see XAUUSD continue to push. For the EURUSD, we were expecting a continuation of the sells if the 1.16 levels held perfectly well, but we see prices still ranging at the 1.16 levels for the EURUSD. For the AUD/USD, we were expecting a break of the trend line for the AUD/USD on the daily time frame below the 0.64 levels to continue to sell to the downside, but prices have failed to break those levels and still linger for the bullish side. And here are the following trade ideas that we would be expecting for the week. We're going to be sharing trade ideas on the XAUUSD and the EURUSD for this week. For the XAUUSD, we see prices currently sitting at the weekly key level at the 4,050 levels. A break below the 4,050 level could possibly continue to see the XAUUSD sell off to the 3,500 levels long term. But presently, we're going to be expecting some sort of bullish correction to hold up the sells that happened last week before we get a continuation of those sells if possibly, or we see the 4,050 levels hold up as a very strong demand level to continue to push the XAUUSD to the upside and most possibly create the all-time highs. But this is going to be highly dependent on the fundamentals backing the XAUUSD. If we get to see the bullish correction happen on the XAUUSD, we might be looking for levels such as the 4,187 level or 4,190 levels to continue the sells to the downside, or we get a break below the 4,050 and a retest of the 4,050 to continue the sells to the downside. Ahead of the week for the EURUSD, we are going to be expecting to see prices bring in the bearish momentum since we see prices currently at the 1.16300 levels. A bearish momentum back into the EURUSD and the change in character could possibly continue to sell the EURUSD to target levels such as the 1.14, 1.13 long term. With the end of the longest government shutdown ever in history during the Trump administration this week, we most likely would start to see a high level of volatility come back into the market, with finally having every high impact news that was postponed last week and the previous week finally come into action and play. And with that being said, we always know the fundamentals is always the driving force for the market. And this week, here are some high impact news that you should be focused on that could be affecting or influencing the aforementioned pairs. On Wednesday, we have the FOMC meeting minutes, and we finally get the non-farm-payroll moved this week, Thursday. We have the NFP on Thursday, we have the average hourly earnings, and we have the unemployment rate for the USD this Thursday. And on Friday, we have the manufacturing PMI for the Euro and the USD as well. And these are the high impact news that you should be watching out for. And the summary for this week's trade idea is a short-term correction bias for the XAUUSD before the sells and a continuation of the sells for the EURUSD. And remember, this is not a trading signal, but only a trade idea with no guarantee for success. Remember to always do your own research and apply risk management to every trade that you decide to take in the markets. And until next time, I'll see you same time, same place on the next move. But remember, trade carefully, trade smart, and trade with Valetax.